Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. This week on The Bold and the Beautiful, MamKhize, will she pay back the money? Will the club be sold? Will Ridge kiss everyone? Will Brooke kiss everyone? I mean, she married, I think she kissed
did.
Brooke and
Everyone,
the father and the brother.
everybody.
There's truth to that. I don't think she's going to win this week because I think abuse is a far more serious topic,
Yeah.
and that guy deserves to go to hell, never mind to get our award.
Omni Audio Africa.
Mayhem.
Not the sports news.
Morning. To you.
Oh, morning to you.
Yes.
Happy April Fool's Day. There's a lot of fools to discuss today because it is our weekly take.
Mampara.
Our weekly take on the world's biggest sporting idiots, and there's plenty of them, but we try and narrow them down to 5 and then see which one we think is most deserving of our What a Mampara award. And there's been a few good winners so far this year, but this week we've got a beautiful set of nominees. Anybody play April Fool's tricks on you today?
Not yet.
I haven't had one yet either.
Not yet.
All right, good.
Although I think Kevin is missing from the round table.
Yeah,
He's probably
well.
played the biggest April Fool's joke on us.
Thanks for joining us live on Facebook Live, TikTok Live, Instagram. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We do this once a week. And of course, we've got the Not the Sports News every day, where we don't talk about the sports results, but we tell you about the stories that are coming out of those results and
The
matches.
stories inside the stories.
The
And there's
stories-
always like a 1,000 stories in a story.
Yes. Somebody had a good laugh at me yesterday because we compared the Royal AM situation to the Bold and the Beautiful. And we even had the music for it. You can check it out on our TikTok channel and across all our socials. But today we've got a beautiful set of nominees. Let's crack on, yes?
Yeah, we do. So we've got Ingebrigtsen, and that is obviously one of the contenders. We're talking about SAFA. Igashwiatek makes it, as well as Royal AM, that happens to be in the media ongoing because now they face repercussions. Remember yesterday we were talking about Yakufenta, the curator from SARS,
Yes.
who is now obviously dotting all the I's, crossing the T's, taking a look at who is the preferred candidate. And it was supposed to be the Moodley family.
Okay.
They were supposed to pay monies, which they didn't.
So they're amongst the nominees, and we'll get into that. I'd like to add a nominee to the list.
Sure.
One, Harry Redknapp.
Okay.
And we've got some footage of him which was leaked from a private event that he was at, where he refers to a certain coach as a German spy,
Right.
which I thought was really interesting. And then apparently, we'll have to check the video out, and we'll share it with you. We'll have to check the video out. He makes a Nazi salute.
What?
But lots of people have been accused of this year, so we can't absolutely certain say that it is. I've seen the footage. I'll give you my judgment later. But let's get to our first nominee this week, which is none other than...
Who would you want to be number one? Because I'm struggling. I don't know if I put SAFA at number 1, Royal AM at number 2, Ingebrigtsen at 3, Schwietek at 4, and your late nominee at 5.
All right.
Are you okay with my order?
Let's kick off with SAFA.
All right. So SAFA have obviously sent letters, and this is nothing new, to their staff, and they're just saying, look, they should have been paid by last night, by the stroke of midnight, rather.
Right. So this is a really bad April Fool's joke. The story, if you don't know it, is that SAFA said that they weren't able to pay their staff between the 25th and the 30th because they hadn't received money from one of their sponsors.
Correct,
and
yeah.
they therefore weren't able to pay their staff and sent out a letter to their staff and were supposed to pay by last night. And that time has gone. Pumpkin hour is over.
We don't know whether or not they have been paid. So that happens to be a story that we watch and see and wait. And that unfolds today. I wonder also how that letter leaked, because it was from the CEO's office to the staff, and ta-da!
I can only imagine how it was leaked, but I don't want to say because
No,
I don't
please
want
do.
I don't want to be looking over my shoulder all day.
Oh.
But let's put SAFA in there
Were
as
referees involved?
no referees involved. But suffice to say that the Football Association of South Africa cannot get any politicians involved. So unfortunately, not even Gates and McKenzie can get involved to sort this out. This is a separate division of sport. Why are you looking at me
I'm
like
just
that?
eyeballing you a little bit, just because I can and because it's April Fool's Day.
Well, he can't get involved, because if he does, I'm getting eyeballed. What are you saying?
Okay.
Yeah, if Mndu says if he gets involved,
Well,
then He is the April Fool.
All right, so this is where we currently stand. It isn't the first time also, so watch, wait and see. And I also think against the backdrop of a Bafana that's doing really, really well, to kind of have this, it makes me think a little further. Sorry. I'm thinking in silence, but I do want to think out loud.
Let's not get ourselves too deeply into the water. Thanks for joining us on Facebook Live, and thanks for joining us across all our socials. If you're just joining us, we're talking about all the idiots in the world of sport to find our top idiot of the week, and we will give them our What a Mampara award, which we will.
We need a floating trophy.
We'll announce just before in the next 25 minutes or so. All right, so SAFA are our first nominee. Our second nominee is none other than...
Let's go to Iga Swiatek, because she was at the Miami Open and 23 years old and targeted by just a fan. So apparently the abuse started online, and this is where he was just hurling abuse at her. And then
I want everybody on Facebook to see you too.
Hi. So this is how it starts, right? Miami Open, 23-year-old Iga Swiatek is there. This man hurls abuse at her, but it doesn't start there. This actually started off court, where it was online abuse that then transcended into him actually appearing and starting to just hurl abuse at this woman. So lawyers are involved. They're saying all kinds of things. They're throwing in her family. I also wondered if this was a person who was close to her family, because he really is going at like personal little family feuds.
What did he actually say?
He was talking about, let me find it for you. He was talking about how she reconciled with her mother because she had a fight with her mother, for example, and little intricate little things that I thought, how would he know that? You know, surely you should be close to the family to know sort of the inner workings and the politics.
I have to share this with you. We've got our engineer crawling around
doing like a cheetah crawl,
trying to fix one of our headphones. All right, so look, we've seen what happens in tennis when somebody gets badly abused, and we saw I can't think of her name now, when she got stabbed.
Monica Seles.
When Monica Seles got stabbed on the side of a court, he was a stalker. We haven't seen anything else like that, other than some verbal abuse between Nick Kyrgios and a few other players, and Djokovic taking a bit of stick. But this sounds like this sounds scary.
But there are others. So it's Swiatek's, obviously her experience now. Raducanu was involved with one as well, where it was just someone hurling abuse at her, and was in the stands when they were in Dubai playing. And Stephanie Hilborn, she's a woman of Women in Sport charity, and she's just obviously just taking it to the next level, just saying that women should not be on a court. But yeah, you're playing your game, but you're also fearing for your life in a way. That's not fair.
Well, you're in a very public space, not like a football field where you have security, several layers of security around you that you've got to jump over a fence, get to the field. Tennis, the crowd's right there. You have
Where
much
would you feel?
easier
I would
access.
actually feel safe on a tennis court than I would at a football game.
Have you ever felt threatened at a sports event before as an individual?
Not really threatened. I always have my wits about me, so I know where to escape. I know where to run, but I do that everywhere I am. So I'll count the windows. I'll know where I am. I'll know my escape route. I'll know where I hide.
I may have told you the story, so forgive me. But many years ago at Ellis Park, I may have recounted the story. My father's refereeing a football match. It is a cup final, and there's a goal in extra time, and there's a field invasion. And I'm little Kevy Fine sitting on the side of the field, halfway line at Ellis Park, and literally all the fans just ran onto the field. So the two thoughts that went through my mind were, one, they're going to kill my dad. And in those days, David Tidiello, who then became the head of security for the PSL and then became the owner of Black Leopards, was my dad's private security. Knob Kiri, 5 guys surround him. There's me sitting down thinking, like, we're all going to die.
Shame.
And actually, it was just out of joy. It wasn't because it could go two ways. You know, fans could be rebelling and going, "How could you give the goal?" Or, "Yay, we're really happy." The teams playing were Witbank Black Aces and Morocco Swallows. To be quite honest, I can't remember the result, but I mean, in that situation, that's a stampede.
You don't want. So I've been in a couple of those as well. Then I just either head to the tunnel or I walk to the furthest point of the pitch because everybody's storming in. So I go the other direction.
I do have a vague memory of going to a game at the old Johannesburg Stadium next to Ellis Park, and Gary Bailey was joining us for the game, and we were waiting inside, and then there was a stampede because everybody wanted to get inside, and Gary Bailey literally nearly got crushed outside the gates. We had to call security and open them for him so that he could get through and then block everybody else. Pretty scary.
It is pretty scary stuff.
Anyway, very different, but it's her stalker who becomes our second nominee for this week. Do we have a name?
No, he's not named.
Stalker.
I named Stalker.
Mother effer.
That's his name now.
I saved myself 10 rand
He
from
has
that.
been nominated.
I saved myself 10 rand from the swear jar there.
20 actually.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, so our two nominees so far for Wada Mampara are the South African Football Association for not paying their staff, and what's her name?
Igaswiatek.
Igaswiatek's stalker, for just making her life shitty.
A misery.
An absolute misery.
At the age of 23, and that's what you have to contend with. But it's why I also don't like social media. I despise social media for the fact that everybody thinks that they just have an opinion and they can just run their mouths whichever way they want.
Yeah, but most are armchair warriors. Quite interestingly, what we've been doing at Omni, and you'll know this, is we've been asking a lot of the armchair critics who send us comments, and we get thousands of comments on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and we write back.
It's amusing, yeah.
Yeah, but we write back and say, would you like to come on the show? Silence. Maybe Warren Marcus Lazaro or Warren Ambler might come on the show and give us their opinion.
Come on, guys.
But we know these people are far away. So when we ask people who are close by, I've got an opinion on Kaizer Chiefs or Orlando Pirates, or
no one comes forward. So what you have a big mouth there, but
armchair warriors.
But when we have to put a face to your name,
it's like
you don't have a big mouth anymore.
I'll hit you so many times you'll think you're surrounded, but and then goes running away to his friends. I'll hit you so hard your pictures at home will have bruises, pal.
Anyway,
thanks for joining us this morning again. We're trying to figure out who is the biggest idiot in sport
at the moment.
This week.
According to us.
Our Wada Mampara nominations so far include SAFA, Igaswiatek Stalker, and now let's get on to the story that's just won't go away.
No, it won't.
And we said yesterday it's like a telenovela. If it was in Spanish, it would be like Está el mundo.
You're so silly, Kevin.
And if it was we compared it to The Bold and the Beautiful. And for those of you who are old enough to remember that music, I'll do it again. This week on The Bold and the Beautiful, MamKhize, will she pay back the money? Will the club be sold? Will Ridge kiss everyone? Will Brooke kiss everyone? I mean, she married. I think she kissed Brooke and
everyone,
the father and the brother.
Everybody.
But this
very incestuous.
This story continues to be a real soap opera. What's the latest?
Look, it's very sad. So it's the Norwegian athletics coach Gert Ingebrigtsen, and he just says he loves his children, and he is just overly protective of them.
Well, I'm missing something here.
Yeah, me too.
Who's what?
Ingebrigtsen.
Yeah. What happened to Royal AM?
No, but this is where we're going. Can't you see? I made notes for you. You're not even looking.
My counting's off. All right. Ingebrigtsen. What's his story?
So
why is he nominated?
He's nominated because he abuses his children.
Oh.
Yeah. So they are...
Stop the traffic, everybody. Show's finished. We can... there's
our winner is...
I mean, why do we even have to continue? I mean, there's idiots and then there's arseholes. And
Look, he's 59 and he just says he loves his children. I'm still stuck on that line. You love your children so much that you mentally abuse them and physically abuse them and hit them when they do not do what you want to say. Why? Because you want to get the best out of them. So he's got a double Olympic champion, Jakub, and he was giving his evidence last week just about the abuse that he's had to endure, manipulation, controlling. He has a daughter that he hits with a wet cloth occasionally when she doesn't listen. And he just says...
so when she does listen, she gets the dry cloth, is that...
I don't know if it's wet or dry. All I know is it cannot be nice, Kev. It really cannot be nice that your dad would treat you this way because he wants to get the best out of you because he's blooding the next Olympic champion. I understand that it's tough.
How did the story come out? How did the story come out?
They spoke out. They eventually just spoke out, and that's why it's in court at the moment, because the kids themselves said that they could not take it anymore and that they needed to be protected from their father. Their father's now in court, testifying, and he's just saying, he loves his children. Hence, he treated them that way. And they're just saying, I'm sure there's more to the story than just the wet cloth, and the mental and physical abuse. But we've obviously just got...
Where is the case now, interestingly? Is this guy being arrested? Is he being investigated?
No, so he's in court. They're in court with this matter.
Sure. That's a shocker. I mean, you hear about crazy sports parents, and I remember one. I won't name the athlete. I'll tell you after the break. I'll tell you what he said about managing athletes, but we'll tell you that second. This is What a Mampara. We're looking for the greatest idiots in sport this week. We'll announce our winner in about 15 minutes or so.
Welcome to Omnisport, the ultimate African sports audio channel. Live and on demand at omniaudio.africa and streaming data free on the MTN network in South Africa. It's where Africa comes to play.
We are trying to figure out who our biggest idiot in sport is this week. It is none other than What a Mampara.
Yes, but we haven't chosen our contenders yet. So you could help us. We are obviously interactive on all the social media handles. As you can see now, here's a lapel mic coming in, and we're working on our audio because you do want to hear what is happening when it comes to the 16th team in the Betway Prem. Because we still don't know if we're operating with 15 teams or 16 teams, and what is going to happen with all the fixtures, and what, and postponed, and postponed, and postponed.
Right. So for those of you who don't follow South African football, right, the story is as follows. A woman by the name of MamKhize, or McCallum, I don't know what you'd call her, an industrialist, thief, con artist, entrepreneur. I'm not quite sure. I don't know how she made her money. I'm speculating, but she buys a football club and then runs it. She, just to give you an idea, drives around in G-Wagons and Rolls Royces and Bentleys. She throws money at her players live on television. She effectively, at some point, gets called up by SARS. I think this is sometime last year, toward the end of last year, and SARS says, "You owe us 80 million rand."
It was way earlier than that they actually flagged it. I think the club only became embroiled in all of it a little later on.
Right. So now they attach the club to this SARS debt, and McCallum and her other directors resign as directors of the club to try and make the club separate from this.
It's a bit late for that.
From this litigation. And then the club goes into a failure, and it's then put up for sale to the highest bidder.
First goes, yeah.
So they put out a tender to see who would like to buy the club and take it over. And they take the club now to a number of preferred bidders, and a bidder makes an application to buy the club.
A couple of bidders actually come through.
There were
by
5.
March 14th.
Right.
They all line up, and it is, you need to do, obviously, there's T's and C's they need to follow. And then the preferred bidder is chosen.
Right, Chocklingham. Ray
Correct.
Moodley, Chocklingham Ray Moodley gets...
So the directors of global investments, that's Magesh Pren Moodley and his father, Chocklingham Roy Moodley. So
Right.
it's father and son. So it's again a family business here.
So they win the bid, and then SARS says, sorry guys, you cannot have the bid because you don't have a tax clearance.
So they're supposed to have also paid some monies by a deadline, which was on Friday or Thursday, one of the two, which they failed to do. And they think that it's okay to do this. Yakufenta, the curator, is saying, you joined the party here saying that you were able to do 1, 2, 3, 4. You cannot do it. They seem to be fine with the breach. And Fenta's decision says there's considerable damages, prompting the seller, which is SARS, to assert their entitlement to redress through appropriate legal channels.
Okay.
So now they're in trouble.
Okay, but here's the rub, right? So in order for Royal AM to compete in the PSL, they have to play before the 5th of April.
But Kev, how are
to
you also
complete
going
all
to
the
play when
fixtures.
6 of your players have already jumped ship?
Okay, so that's
They
the
don't
first
even
problem.
have a full complement team that can play. Are they fit enough to play? Have they been training? It's no to all of those. So for me, at this point, I'm just like, PSL needs to make a decision, because we're living in hope that games are going to be played with what players? Do you think unpaid players are going to want to come back to finish a league? But what are we in? 3-4 months with no salary? Some players are paid, some players are not paid. So is anybody going to come together to want to play? I wouldn't.
So regardless, let's assume they do get the team together. If they don't play, I think before the 5th of April, there's no way they can catch up all the fixtures. And this has multiple implications for the league, because what it means is that the bottom two teams will now be relegated, and that is Cape Town City and SuperSport United, because they would have been bottom because they obviously haven't played games. So unless they actually have a new curator and a purchaser and the club is reignited,
It's a mess.
The league then, so all the teams who have played them lose their points. The bottom two teams are now in the relegation zone, and they drew on Sunday, Cape Town City and SuperSport United, and we have a real problem. So this is ultimately Sean McKallum, the owner's fault. This is not the fault of the players or anybody else. So we have to nominate once again, and she's won this award multiple times. I feel like, some people might remember.
But can't we park her?
No, we can't.
Because I still think Ingebrigtsen, you cannot abuse your kids like that.
No. I'm not giving her the award. I'm not giving the award. I'm saying so it just reminds me of you might not remember this, but years ago there was a show on I think it was on 702. It was called the American Top 40. It's American Top 40. Hi, I'm Casey Kasem, and this week we've got a song for you that you've never heard. One young Michael Jackson, produced by Quincy Jones, a song called Beat It. And then he'd play the song and you'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing. Now, when that song went to a number one again for this week on the American Top 40, and he would belt it out. And I feel like Sean McKallum would be like, number one for Mampara is Sean McKallum. And there's truth to that. I don't think she's going to win this week, because I think abuse is a far more serious topic, and that guy deserves to go to hell, never mind to get our award. But there is one more nominee that we need to get to. And this is a really interesting story that I picked up on. And I don't know how recent it is, but I don't think we've covered it. So if you know who Harry Redknapp is, famous English Premier League coach. He's been around for 100 years. He's probably 702. He's a shape-shifting reptilian. He's coached for so long. And he goes to one of these functions, where they invite sports people to come and watch people talk. It could be Victor Matfield, or it could be Schalk Brits, or it could be Redknapp for King. And they ask them questions. They do those breakfasts with like Graham Smith and Ricky Ponting.
Got you.
Anyway, he's talking, and someone says to him, what do you think of Tuchel as the coach of England? Yeah. And he leans back in his chair and he says something to the effect of, I think that guy's a fucking spy. He's got that, he's got that real like Guy Ritchie type accent in it. He's a fucking spy. Yeah. And he's come over here to spy on England. And then he lifts his arm like this, and the intonation is that he's made this Nazi salute.
Oh my God!
Now we saw what happened with Elon Musk and that whole thing where he's going, "Thank you, everybody," but he's basically a social retard, so he wouldn't understand the difference between thank you and a Nazi salute, right? And I'm not sure that he did do it, but saying that the national English coach, who's actually a really good coach, and I think Chelsea made a mistake firing him when they did, although he did have troubles at PSG.
Yeah,
and
but go back to the gesture.
I don't
did
think
he or didn't he?
I don't think he really did. I think people are looking for shit like this everywhere you go on social media. People are looking for stuff that isn't really there. If anybody's familiar with Ashton Hall, and they've seen him dipping his face in, and they're just ripping him apart. But this guy's got, I don't know, 100 million views or something ridiculous. If you haven't seen Ashton Hall, he's the guy who's making the videos with the nose strip and then the mouth strip.
Why are you giving
and
him
then
followers?
Dipping his face in ice, because everybody's making diss videos of him, right?
Okay.
And they're saying things like, oh, he goes to sleep because he does a nighttime routine and a morning routine. He goes to sleep and he claps his hands, and then you hear the light switch go, and they're like, dude, you don't have self. And in the videos, he drops a bottle of Saratoga water, which has spiked their sales. But you see him trying to catch the bottle that someone's thrown to him, and then it drops on the floor. And they're like, dude, you didn't drop it from the catch. You've dropped that purposely for the camera shot. So everybody's taking it out of him. People are looking for stuff on social media. They're probably going to look on here. In your
opinion, did he or didn't he?
Who? No, I don't think he's that stupid. And I don't think he well, the English and the Germans aren't the best of friends.
Correct.
You know the famous English chants, 2 world wars and 1 World Cup. That's their famous chant. So I can't say that he did or he didn't, but to say that the national coach of England is a spy.
Harry that also wore a Nazi outfit to Halloween.
That was years ago. Imagine Gavin Hunt going to one of those breakfasts and saying that he thinks Hugo Bruce is a spy. Like it's just the wrong thing to do. It's a Mampara move. It's a dick move, to be honest. And for what it's worth, I mean, this guy's been in the game long enough. He didn't need to say it. And if anything, you should be supporting.
But then again, you made a good point, didn't you? You said everybody is looking for a little something. And isn't it for relevance? Everybody at the moment has something funny or ill to say about the next person, or just for...
He was saying it as a joke, and maybe it's being blown up. I think it's a shitty thing to say about somebody that you think that they're spying for the Germans. Yeah. But he was playing on the whole, if Trevor Noah said it would be funny. When Harry Redknapp says not so funny. All right, so we've come to that point in the show where we're going to just count down our top 5 nominees for Mampara, What a Mampara. And if you're just joining us on our lives, we're figuring out who is the biggest idiot in sport this week. So our 5 nominees are going from, let's go backward from Harry Redknapp. So,
okay.
Yeah. So Harry Redknapp for calling Tuchel a spy and potentially doing a Nazi salute, which we don't really think he did. But he's at number 5. At number 4.
Iga Swiatek and her abuser rather, that followed her all the way to the Miami Open just to hurl abuse at her from the stands.
All right, at number 3.
We've got Ingebrigtsen, and that is Gert Ingebrigtsen for abusing 3 of his children. They are Olympians, and he just says he loves them and he's overly protective. That is why he did what he did.
No comment.
You stuck there.
At number 2.
SAFA
for not paying their staff. The
staff.
South African Football Association. Talk to your friends about this. This is something that needs to be spoken about. We don't want to talk about politics. Like our most important thing that we love to talk about and watch and be involved with is sport. And for the South African Football Association to not pay their staff is a disgrace.
We hope they did pay by stroke of midnight.
Yes, so we might be speaking out of turn. I don't want to get sued. So just to be certain on that.
TBC was that story, obviously.
TBC, yes.
Will be followed up on today. And that's our 5 contenders today.
What about Royal AM?
Oh, sure. I can't
number 1.
count.
Your maths also isn't so good.
I cannot count.
You're trying to pull an April Fool's joke on me.
Royal AM, and obviously I don't think it's MamKhize who's in the spotlight today. It's actually the Moodley family. Chokalingam and Magpression. I said it incorrectly, excuse me.
Chokalingam, Roy Moodley.
Correct. But now I'm going to his son because it's the Moodley family.
Brilliant.
Anyway.
Okay.
And them not paying.
Our winner is?
Gert Ingebrigtsen.
Yeah. Abusing your children, just not to be celebrated, not to be... I mean, you can't compare that at all. I mean, I hope the guy goes to prison for life, and anybody who does that in the name of sport.
It's also not the first time that they are in court.
And let this be a lesson to other parents. And I know this is a bit of a serious note, but let this be a lesson to the parents on the sidelines. I'm talking to you. When you're watching your kids, just let them enjoy themselves, encourage them, let them live and fuel their passion as much as you can. But that level of involvement, I remember I told you I would tell you something that that somebody said. He said he used to manage a very famous golfer, very famous golfer. And when they parted ways, he said, I will never manage another player unless they're an orphan. And what he meant by that was, I can't deal with the effing parents. So to you as a parent, there's nothing that can justify beating up on your kids, whether it's mentally or physically. And our Mampara, What a Mampara is definitely Mr. Ingebrigtsen. On a sad note, because it actually sucks. But it actually has been a great show. And Romy, you've got something coming out your ear.
And you out your nose.
April Fool. All right, we're back tomorrow with Not the Sports News. That wraps up our show. But tomorrow we're looking at all the stories coming out of the sport, not the sport. We'll discuss Lewis Hamilton and his heavy car.
Oh, my boyfriend.
Your boyfriend.
Cash and Sport tomorrow. We're talking about SAFA non-payment of salaries and obviously just tracking the inner workings of Royal AM.
Brilliant. We got to go. Our engineer says it's time.
Bye.
He says it's time. Let's wrap it up. See you guys.
Sports News on OmniAudio.Africa. With Romy